Hi kids! Welcome to LCM Kids Online, and this week we are starting on a brand new series. I'm really excited to share this series because we're going to be touching on some important and burning questions that you may have about faith, about God, about Jesus, or even about the Bible. Now, at some point in time, you're going to have some questions about your own faith. And so to help you, we are going to be answering some big questions week after week. So this series is called Big Questions for Little Kids. And to start off, this week we're going to start with a very common question that I always get from my own kid, from Sunday school kids, as well as Bubbles. Oh, you guys don't know who Bubbles is? Let me introduce you to him. Bubbles! Bubbles, come over here. The kids want to meet you. That's odd. Where is he? Oh! Hi, Bubbles! I didn't see you there. Children, this is Bubbles, and he's our Sunday school puppet. Say hi, Bubbles. Hi. Okay, Bubbles is feeling a little bit grouchy because he's been holding on to a very big question, but he hasn't gotten any answers yet. So, what is the big question do you have, Bubbles? Do you want to share it with the kids?
Finally, I can get an answer to my question?
We'll try to find the answer together.
Okay, fine. My big question is God real?
Oh, so the big question for today's Sunday school lesson is God real? Children, have you thought of this question before? I mean, you can't see God like I can see you now. You can't hear Him like how Moses and Abraham could hear God. And we can't feel Him like how the people tried to touch Jesus' robes. So how do we know He's real? Well, Bubbles and children, my first reply to your question whether God is real is that just because you cannot see something doesn't mean it isn't real. Here, Bubbles, take a seat and I'll explain to you, okay? Now, children, the realness of something is not based on whether you can spot it with your eyes. There are many things around us that we cannot see but is real. Can you name me some? Well, actually, one of them is air. Now, air can't be seen, but it is all around us and we need it to survive, to breathe, to live. And another one is the wind. Hold out your finger and blow on it. You can't see it, right? But you can feel the wind that is being blown out of your mouth. And even though you can't see the wind, you can see how it moves the things around, like rustling leaves or the trees swaying. Now, the amazing thing with God is that we cannot see Him, but we can see what He has done, what He has made, how He makes us feel, and how He helps us through. That is how we know God is real. So to make it clearer for you, we're going to touch on one way that we know God is real. Over here, I have some pictures of different people with different occupations, okay? Over here, I have the builder, I have the artist, I have the chef, I also have the tailor. Okay, so these 4 occupations does different things. And then I have another 4 smaller pictures of items or objects that are being made. I have a bowl of noodles, a beautiful dress, a piece of art, and finally, a beautiful house. So, who do you think made each of the items? I'm going to put out the occupations, the different makers, and we're going to match the items to the correct maker. Okay? Okay, so here I have the 4 occupations and we're going to match the first item. The first item I have here is the house. Who do you think made the house? Was it the tailor? Artist? Chef? Or the builder? Who made the house? Exactly, it's the builder. Good job, kids. Now the next item that I have is the piece of art. Which one of the occupations made the piece of art? Yes, it's the artist. The artist paints beautiful artworks. Now the next object that we have is a bowl of noodles. Who do you think made the bowl of noodles? Tailor or the chef? You got it right, it is the chef. Look at him cooking some pasta over here. And finally, of course, we have a beautiful dress. And I'm sure you know by now, it's the tailor that makes it. Good job, children. Just like all the items and objects that we see over here, everything in this world is made by someone. It doesn't just pop out of nowhere. So then, how about this world that we are living in? Who made this wonderful world? The Bible clearly tells us that it is God who created the world from nothing. And because God has created this world that we are living in right now, we know that He is real by just looking at all the creations around us. But how did God create this world? Well, join me on this journey as we find out how God created the world in just 6 days. Now, if we go to the Bible in Genesis chapter 1, we'll see the whole process of how God created the world. Now, over here today, I have a board and it has the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to show you different picture cards to illustrate to you the different days that God created different things. Are you ready? Okay, here goes. In the beginning, there was no earth or sky or sea or animals. And then God spoke in the darkness, "Let there be light." And right away, there was light scattering the darkness and showing the infinite space. "That's good," said God. "From now on, when it's dark, it will be night. And when it's light, it will be day." That was the first day of God's creation. On the second day, God made a vast blue sky, and He separated from the waters. He stood back and admired His creation. "That's good too," said God. And the second day was done. The next morning, God looked around and thought, "The world needs to be a bit more organized." So He put all the water in one place and all the dry lands in another place. When He had finished that, God made plants to cover the land. All the beautiful trees and flowers appeared. All sorts of grasses began to grow. "It's looking great," said God. And that was the end of the third day. On the fourth day, God looked around and thought, "The daylight still needs a bit more work, and the night is just too dark." So God made the sun to light up the day and the moon and stars to add a bit of sparkle to the night. He hung them in the sky and stepped back to look at His beautiful work. "This is coming along very well," said God. And that was the end of the fourth day. The next day, God turned His attention to the waters that He had collected in the oceans. "I want these waters to have life." As soon as He said it, it was so. In no time, there were millions of small fishes darting through the shallow water and huge fishes swimming in the ocean. God made birds too in the sky. "Ah, that is good," said God. The dusk fell over the water and the sky grew dark. That was the end of the fifth day. On the sixth day, and a very important day, God added creatures to the land. He made lions and tigers and giraffes and elephants and bears and cows and sheep. He added everything from ants to zebras, but He still felt something was missing. So, God added mankind, a man and a woman, to enjoy and take care of all the things that He has created. God looked around and was very happy with all He had made. So here we have all the 6 days where God created everything in the world. Now, however, there was a 7th day in the Bible. After 6 days, the whole world was complete. So, on the 7th day, God had a nice long rest and enjoyed looking at all that He had made. And God made the 7th day the rest day, and what we call Sabbath day. So children, it's amazing, isn't it? How God just needed 6 days to create so many wonderful things in the world. Now let's recap, okay? On day 1, God created light and dark. On day 2, God created the vast, beautiful skies. On day 3, God created the dry lands and even the plants and the trees. Day 4, God created the sun to light up the day and the stars and the moon to sparkle the night. And on the 5th day, God created the creatures in the skies and in the sea. On the 6th day, God created animals on the land, and He made, very importantly, man and woman, to take care of all that He has created. And finally, on the seventh day, God said it's a rest day. Now, let me ask you children, do you still see all these creations that God has made today? Yes, right? We can still see the trees, we can still see the nature, we can still see the animals, the birds in the sky, the fishes in the water, and most importantly, we can see God's wonderful creation, that is you and me, mankind. Now, when we look at all the creations of God around us, it proves to us that God is real, God is powerful, and He is the creator of the universe. Now, we cannot see Him because God doesn't want us to focus on what can be seen. Now, there was a time when the people of Israel saw how God has helped them, gave them food, gave them water to drink, yet they still doubt God and turn away from Him later on. So, to God, it is not about whether we can see Him or not, but it is about experiencing Him, relying on Him, and trusting Him. He wants us to believe Him, feel Him, and see how He works in our lives to love us, to help us, and to bless us. Now we're going to do a short little craft to remember all the wonderful creations of our mighty and real God. We're going to be making a God's creation chart with numbers today. So let's talk about the materials first, okay? Now what we need first is a big piece of colored paper. Any color will do, okay? And then next you will need some drawing paper, some white drawing paper. Then you will also need scissors, pencil, some coloring materials, color pencils or markers will do. And finally, you also need your glue. So let's go to the first step. Firstly, take out your white paper, okay, your white drawing paper, and I want you to trace the numbers from 1 to 7. Now this could be a little bit hard, so get a grown-up to help you. So what will it look like? It should look like this. And a 2. Okay, so the important thing to take note is that your number must have space in them. Okay, because we're going to draw something in the numbers later. Okay, so just trace from 1 to 7. Let's go. So once you're done tracing your numbers 1 to 7, it should look something like that. Now next, grab your scissors and we're going to cut each of the numbers out. Okay, if it's too difficult, get a grown-up to help you. Alright, let's cut. Okay, so once you're done cutting your numbers out, okay, they should all look like that individually. And now you're just gonna lay them down on your table from 1 to 7. And you're gonna get your color pencils or your markers, and we're gonna draw in the different things that God created for that day. So let's say you have your number 1. What did God create on the first day? Do you remember? God created light and dark. Okay, so you can draw maybe half of it. It's a bright yellow, and then the lower half of it is black. And let's say you get number 5. What did God create on the 5th day? He created the creatures of the sky and the sea. So you can draw like maybe a line across, and then half on top are birds, and below are fishes, or jellyfishes, or octopus. So in case you don't remember, I'm going to draw each of the numbers with you. Alright, so let's start with the number 1. So let's start with the number 1. Okay, day 1, God created light and dark. Let's draw. Okay, so my day 1 is done. Okay, let's move on to day 2. Day 2, what did God create? Do you remember? The skies. Okay, let's get our blues ready to draw our sky. Okay, day 2 is done. There you go, some clouds for the skies. And now on to day 3. Where's my number 3? Oh, there it is. On the 3rd day, God created dry land and plant life. So you can draw land, you can draw grass and trees, okay? Okay, I'm done with day 3. I colored it light brown and I drew on some trees on it. Okay, and now on to the 4th day. On the 4th day, God created the sun, the moon, and the stars in the sky. Let's draw. Okay, here's mine. I draw some stars, a moon here, and a sun right below. Okay, and on to the 5th day. On the 5th day, this is fun, God created the creatures of the sky and the sea. So you can draw birds or fishes or any creatures that you can think of in the sky and in the sea. Okay, so I'm done with my day 5, number 5. I drew some birds in the sky. I drew a little jellyfish and 2 fishes. in the ocean. Okay, and on to day 6, the important day, right, where mankind was made. So yeah, on your number 6, you can draw how God created the land animals like elephants, lions, giraffes, zebras, and most importantly, God created man and woman. Okay, so draw that on. So on the 6th day, I drew my man, my woman, and some land animals like elephant, rabbit, cat, and lion. Okay, and finally for number 7, the last day, God told us that it's the day to rest. So you can draw some sleeping eyes or some pillows, or you can draw the Z sign that means sleeping. So let's draw. Okay, number 7 was easy. I just draw some sleeping eyes and some Z signs. So once you're done with all 7 of your number cutouts and your drawings, you're going to take out your large colored paper and your glue, and you're going to stick on the numbers from 1 to 7 on your paper. Okay, ready, go! Okay, so once you're done, it should look like this. From day 1 to day 7, all of God's creation, and the last day, a rest day. Now you can even write on the words days of God's creation at the top, and you can just display anywhere around your house. I'll probably display it somewhere where the kids can see it, maybe in your room. I hope that you have enjoyed making the chart and remembering the days of God's creation. Now let us go to the Bible verse of the week, shall we? I'm going to read it in small parts and you will repeat after me, okay? Now this week's Bible verse is pretty short and it's taken from Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. Okay, read after me, alright? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now one more time, we'll read it, okay? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now children, I hope that the lesson today has helped you to answer the big question of whether God is real. Again, we can find our answers when we look around and discover all the things that God has created and how He's working in our lives right now today. Take care and I'll see you next week. Bye!